This is the troublesome radiator cap on the Triumph 955 series. I've seen a lot of forum discussions about this, but nobody's bothered to take dimensions or explains how it works that I could find. So it's actually got 4 working components here, any of which could cause a problem. Now I've taken this knackered one apart to show you the problems. So this is actually split. Okay, I've just put one on there that works. Now, there's a seal on the pressurized part of your system, so that goes down and seals, but the spring is calibrated to lift off in the case of the 955 at 1.1 bar, which is about 16 psi. So when the pressure gets too much, it crushes this spring and the coolant is released past this seal. Okay, now that is actually a 30mm hole, but the diameter of that seal is 28, so it's easy enough to get in. All right, so that's the dimensions you're looking for if you need a replacement. It needs to be about 28 on the, let's call it the piston part that goes into the neck. And 1.1 bar is the tension of that spring. So that's something that's usually written on the top. In this case, it didn't bother. And then you've got the cylinder itself. As I said, it's 30mm. Now, the narrowest bit of the lip at the top of the neck is just 3mm wide. And that is this seal. Now, if you look closely, you can see that this is perished and scored. And that was the problem I had with this cap, is when the bike was hot, it used to dribble water out of the top of the radiator. Now, some people say scrub this with a toothbrush to get the muck out, but if it's perished, it's just no good, and you can't really replace that part. Maybe you could put some sealant down on there like RTV if you weren't going to take the top off, but that might then string off and block your expansion pipe. Now, the way that this works is when it gets up above pressure, it releases the fluid into past this piston seal, but it doesn't want to dribble out the top of the radiator. So what you'll notice is your expansion tank pipe is actually between the two. And when it gets up to pressure, the water is admitted into the neck, but not out of the top of the neck, and it goes along the expansion pipe into your expansion tank. Okay, now you think, well, that's going to lose fluid. What happens when the fluid cools down and contracts is it creates a vacuum in the system. And here's the clever thing. If I show you, now I've taken this apart, you can see how it works. This is actually sprung loaded. And in behind there, you can just see that is a spring. And when the vacuum in the system is there, it pulls down that spring. Look at that, isn't that amazing? See it working? True. And what that's going to do, because the top is still sealed, it's going to suck through the pipe from your expansion tank. So it puts back the fluid, not air. You don't want air in your system when it cools down. And if it expands, it goes into it. So it's quite a clever system. All the cars use this. The radiator caps are all similar. That's how it works. But you're going to need for the Triumph a piston, which is about 28, maybe 25 would do, but that narrows the sealing of the rubber ring, doesn't it? Incidentally, the minimum you can go on this hole, I measured it with calipers. You see there it's 16, was 20. So this is narrower than 20. If that copper piece, brass piece I should say, was wider than 20, it would actually rest on the hole deep down. So that would be no good. So you need something with a metal piece which is less than 20 in the middle and up to about 29 on the outside of there. So 28 is perfect. On the outside of here, it's going to seal between 30 and 33. And the rest of it doesn't really matter. Okay? It could be wider. So you're talking about 33. This is an original cap between those pins there. That would be the fixing diameter. What have I got here? I'm trying to do this one-handed. I'm measuring 42, so it's probably 43, the outside diameter with the catches, but the thinnest part I know is only 33. So there you go. What is the depth of this plunger? It doesn't really matter the depth of the plunger, but this one's been broken, but I can tell you it will probably be approximately, approximately 12. So when that spring is compressed and it sits in its final part position, the distance between the rubber seals is probably about 12-15 mil. Okay, so that's how it works. Those are the sizes, and that's the size of bike you want.